Hi everyone, in today's video I'll be talking about a developmental disorder that's called Marfan syndrome. I'll be discussing the background, the signs and symptoms, the affective tissue, genetics, research, as well as treatment options. What is Marfan syndrome? Marfan syndrome is a genetic disorder, inherited genetic disorder that impacts the body's connective tissue, and it becomes apparent during childhood or adolescence. And about 90% of these cases that are caused by mutation of a gene, fibrin, which is a key protein for connective tissue, affects areas that are rich in connective tissue, such as heart, lungs, skeleton, and eyes. Let's talk about how individuals inherit this syndrome. As you probably know, each individual receives two copies or two alleles of FBN1 gene, and one of these alleles is non-functioning. Since Marfan syndrome is a genetically autosomal dominant, just one functional allele is sufficient to cause the condition. And early detection of the signs of Marfan syndrome is crucial because there's some life-threatening complications that are related to heart, and it's important to prevent those severities. Some of the physical characteristics of Marfan syndrome can include being tall, thin, or having long arms, legs, fingers, and toes. Since, like I mentioned, early detection is key, diagnosing for Marfan syndrome can be challenging um, because the presentation varies among individuals as well as the severity. That's why testing for Marfan syndrome is crucial, which can involve physical examination, just regular physical examination, assessing family history, eye examination, echocardiogram to detect abnormalities of heart, and genetic testing. All of these measures are important to help in identifying Marfan syndrome. Genetics and tissue. Well, Marfan syndrome, like I mentioned before, is a mutation of FBN1 gene on chromosome 15. Here in this image, you can see a healthy person with two working FBN1 gene, which will have a working protein, and then proteins are joined together to form a strong fiber, versus a person with Marfan syndrome, one of the chromosomes are being affected. So they have a working and not working gene, and then the protein is being altered, which can lead to a weak tissue, a weak fiber, and weak connective tissue overall. How does this mutation affect the eye? Well, fibrin is essential for the formation of microfibers, because it provides strength and elasticity. And in the absence of fibrin, individuals will have dislocated lens or under developed iris. So as you can see, um, fibrin protein is important um, in order to prevent some of these symptoms and phenotypes. How does Marfan syndrome affect the heart? Well, let's talk about how a healthy heart looks like and how an individual with Marfan syndrome, how a heart in individuals with Marfan syndrome will look like. As you can see in this image right here, the aorta in healthy person is not too large, it's not bulging, and this aorta is a large blood vessel that carries blood from heart to the rest of the body. And with Marfan syndrome, the aorta is weakened, so the high pressure from within sometimes can cause the aorta to tear or bulge, and that's why um, aorta undergoes some of the structural changes, um, um, which can decrease the smooth muscle density and proteoglycan deposition. Mutation and disrupts and affects microfibers and smooth muscle cells. Here in this image, the mutation in FBN1 gene can cause problems with how a protein called LLC is stored in extracellular matrix, which can result in the activation protein of TGF beta. This TGF beta interacts with some of the receptors and activate a protein called SMAD protein. The SMAD protein will, with other transcription factors, will have an effect with different genes, and overall, these molecular changes contribute to the development of Marfan syndrome, such as emphysema, issues with mitral valve, aortic aneurysm, and myopathy. Treatment options can be managing Marfan syndrome will have a combination of lifestyle behaviors and medical treatments to reduce strain on heart and lungs, to address some of the severe symptoms. And lifestyle behaviors can include engaging in low impact activities like walking, tennis, golf, and avoiding strenuous activities. Medical approaches, it depends. Medical approaches, individuals can, it depends what area of the body, what organ is being affected. Say if if the individual has vision issues, they can use contact or glasses, or if they have scoliosis to prevent the progression, they can use back brace or surgery. And if there's a high strain on the heart, they can use blood pressure medications or beta blockers. In severe cases, surgery. Here is another example of how individuals can use medications and beta blockers to reduce heart rate and blood pressure. And in severe cases, they could go under thoracic aortic surgery to treat those leaky or bulging valves. In this research article, researchers, they explored the use of a peptide called 144 to treat aortic aneurysm, and they found that although P144 prevents aneurysm formation, it doesn't stop the progression once it has already formed. P144, it helps regulate TGF beta levels, but its effectiveness in preventing aneurysm is limited. In the second research article, researchers used human pluripotent stem cells to model Marfan syndrome. They derived induced pluripotent stem cells from Marfan syndrome patient. They corrected the mutation and created a control cells for comparison. They also used embryonic stem cells with fibrin gene knockout Overall, they found that cells from Marfan syndrome induced pluripotent stem cells and embryonic stem cells showed reduced bone formation, abnormal contractility, calcium signal, and smooth muscles, suggesting that human pluripotent stem cells can help understand the disease and have potential treatments. And the third, in a different research article, researchers studied the role of a molecule called CN3. They discovered that CCN3 is influenced by TGF beta and Wnt, which plays a role in assembling a protein called fibrin. And they observed that disruption of fibrin leads to decreased level of CCN3, and they found that CCN3 plays a role in the formation of connective tissue, which acts as a negative regulator and reducing the TGF beta and which promote tissue scarring. So, the production of fibrin, as you can influenced by CCN3, and this helps maintain a balance on organization for proper tissue functioning.